Roscoe.
Cappe.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ballers to Balding, where, as always, we'll have some strong takes. We got weak follicles. Can't help it. If you enjoy the show, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Spotify. Become eligible to win $1 billion worth of entertainment. Today, we're going to do something a little different. Ross and I were talking the other night about our favorite sports movies of all time. And we decided, you know what? Let's share it with the people.
Absolutely.
Let's do an episode. So today, we're each going to rank our top 10 greatest sports movies of all time. This is the definitive ranking. By the way, I'm drinking my coffee because it's early. You like my cup?
I do.
I'm on the coffee part, so we got to finish this quickly because I have two other parts to get to. So the way we're going to do this is we're each going to we're going to go back and forth from 10 to 1. And listen, you probably have some different ones. Everyone has their opinion. They're not probably as good as our opinions, obviously, because we're professionals. But leave it in the likes and the comments. Tell us what we're doing wrong, what movies we left off. If you agree, disagree, leave your top 10 list. We'd be very interested to see that. I would, anyways. Ross is a little more self-involved and just cares about his own thing. All right. I'm going to start with my number 10. You ready?
Ooh, I'm ready.
My
big
number
guy.
10. And then you can do your 10. All right. My number 10 is Raging Bull.
Oh.
Great movie. Now, Raging Bull, if I was a film professor, a snooty film professor, it would be a lot higher on the list. Cinematically, it's probably one of the best movies on the list, if not the best. Robert De Niro, unbelievable performance. Martin Scorsese, I love him anyways, but he's a genius. In this movie, he shoots boxing like someone placed a camera directly inside a concussed head. The boxing is unbelievable. And the story of Jake LaMotta is completely compelling, if not mildly alarming. But here's the problem for me. This is why it's not higher on my list. It's not exactly a fun night at the movies. Nobody watches Raging Bull and afterwards says, hey, let's go get some wings. Boxer Jake LaMotta is probably one of the most unlikable people all the way back to Hitler. He fights everybody. His opponents, his brother. He knocks around his wife. He's the type of guy who would go to a park and pick a fight with a tree. But as a sports movie, oh my God, man, it shows the violence, the obsession, the jealousy, the self-destruction behind boxing better than any other movie ever made, probably. And it leaves you feeling like you've been emotionally kicked in the balls repeatedly. For me, the most iconic moment in the movie is that final moment when Sugar Ray Robinson absolutely beats the shit out of Jake LaMotta. And then LaMotta looks at Robinson afterwards and says, you never got me down. It's like, yeah, you're the winner. Technically, it's true. But he did get hit like 4,000 times and his face looks like a hamburger. But good for you, Jake. You never went down. It's a great movie. That's my number 10.
Though for me, that is my number 8. I agreed with everything that you said. I think the one thing I would say about this particular movie is it really introduces the anti-hero. Because as much as you hate Jake LaMotta and you hate him, I mean, when he hits his wife, I mean, he gives her a right shot and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you
tough to love a wife beater, you know?
Yeah. And you know, it's just, you're still kind of rooting for him through the whole movie. And that to me is what makes it amazing. I love that they decided to do it in black and white. Personally, my favorite scene in that movie is one that probably most people don't have it. It's the end, towards the end when he owns the nightclub. Jake owns the nightclub and he's fat and he's kind of a loser. And now the fact that he's a loser is really all there is about him. And he's walking around with a microphone at his own club, trying to make jokes, etc. And you're uncomfortable watching him. I just really felt that really epitomized the movie for me. So I had it number 8.
Okay, what's your number 10?
So my number 10 is Old Reliable Brian Song. I mean, from 1971, starring Jimmy Caan and Billy D. Williams, about the friendship between Gale Sayers and Brian Piccolo. Gale Sayers, of course, was a superstar. Brian Piccolo was one of those guys who had to work hard and work for everything he got, much like you.
Yes,
No actual talent, just really hard
correct.
work,
We are very much like. That's probably
Absolutely.
why you like it. Yeah.
Absolutely. What I loved about that movie, other than the story, is that they actually show scenes of Gale Sayers. And for those who've never seen Gale Sayers, he was incredible. I mean, he
Yeah.
scored 6 touchdowns in a game. He just was an unbelievable player who actually had his career was cut short by knee injuries, including one that they show in the movie. A couple other real themes in that is that those two are the first two white and black players who actually have to room together. That's a theme that runs throughout, and they just become incredible friends. Brian Piccolo, of course, comes down with cancer. Gale Sayers, that's really the entire part of the second part of the movie. It's devastating. My favorite scene is when Gale Sayers has to give a speech about Brian Piccolo, who's dying, and he starts to cry. I mean, it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
just a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I had that you had that number 10, mine that was number 8 for me.
Okay.
That is the
So
movie
we
that had
swap. We swap.
yeah, that is the movie that has been making grown men claim they have something in their eye since 1971. Sayers and Piccolo are competitors, and they become roommates, and then eventually they become best friends. And then when he becomes ill, the movie stops being about football and starts testing whether you're emotionally dead inside. I mean, it is such
Yeah.
a gut-wrenching thing. But from a sports perspective, it really shows the bond of teammates and, how hard they work. And the movie was made it's only 74 minutes long. It was made on a shoestring budget. I don't know if you know this, but they used the Bewitched set for Piccolo's
Wow.
house to save money. And still, it's such a great movie. And my favorite moment too is at the end when Sayers is accepting the most courageous player in the NFL award, and he tells the audience they picked the wrong man. He says, "I loved Brian Piccolo," and suddenly, like, every guy watching that becomes fascinated with the ceiling and the floor, or literally anything else that prevents someone from looking at their eyes. Just
All
a
right.
great movie, great sports movie. So that was
That's my number 10. So
all
now
right.
you
So
go to
now I'm on my number 9.
Mhm.
My number 9. Let's just recap. My 10 was Raging Bull. My 9 now is Rudy.
Ooh.
Rudy!
Ooh.
Is the story in the movie completely exaggerated? Yes, sure. But sports movies are not depositions, Ross. I don't need every Notre Dame player under oath confirming that he placed his jersey on the desk. I just need Sean Astin getting carried off the field while the music swells to let me know that I am a pussy for not chasing every dream I ever had. It's the ultimate sports movie for anyone who's too small, too slow, too untalented, and academically a moron. So basically, 98% of all the people in the country. Look, the movie is shamelessly manipulative. It knows all the buttons to press, and it just presses them over and over. And of course, it has one of the most iconic scenes. A great scene at the end of the movie when Rudy gets in the game, records a sack,
Fantastic.
gets carried off by his teammates. And look, it's inspiring in spite of the fact that to me, Notre Dame is one of the most annoying teams in all of sports. And Sean Astin in real life is 5'6". He's not even big enough to be the equipment manager. They
It's
could have made that
ridiculous.
movie where they were like in the final scene, they're going to let him carry the water bottles and they don't know if he's strong enough to do it. And then he carries them off and they lift him and carry him off the field. I don't know. But it's a great sports movie.
That was my last cut in my top 10, would be
Ah,
number 11, and what pushed it down for me is I once saw Joe Montana, who was on those teams at Notre Dame, interviewed about it, and he said, "Yeah, when they carried him off the field, it was kinda making fun of him." And I and I have a guy who I know who went to Notre Dame, and he said that the actual Rudy was around campus trying to hit on co-eds when he was, like, 30. It just that little bit takes it out of the top 10 for me.
yes. All right. Well, a lot of times a movie is different than real life.
Yep.
We know that. By the way, there's a great line in the movie Goon, which is a funny hockey movie, not even close to the list, where he comes up to a girl, she's crying. He's a hockey goon. He comes up to her and he's crying, and he's like, "What's wrong? Did you just watch Rudy?" Great line.
Alright. So my number 9 is Ford versus Ferrari. Just very quickly, what I liked about it, why it's a great sports movie. It tells you the ins and outs of car racing, which is something that I would not find interesting, which then goes to my why I think it's a great movie, because it actually makes car racing interesting. Now, I have heard from you that when you actually go to a car race, it's unbelievably exciting.
It is,
But otherwise,
surprisingly.
watching guys go around in a circle in a car just is not that great. And you wouldn't think it'd be great on film, but they do a fantastic job. Also, great cast. Just a really, really good movie.
Did not make my list.
And
Did
I would
not make my
say,
list because Talladega Nights is better. No, I'm kidding. Go on.
well, let me say this. But do you remember the scene? And this is my favorite scene where the Matt Damon character takes the Tracy Letts, who's the Henry Ford III, on a test drive, and Tracy Letts is screaming in fear. Loved that. Loved everything about it. So that was my number 9.
Okay, so now we're at number 8.
Yep, for you.
My number 8 is Brian's Song. So we already went through with that.
Yeah.
Number 8, I liked it a little bit better than you, just because I know more about film and I have better taste. So, what's your number 8?
My number 8 was Raging Bull, so you can move to your number 7.
My number 7 is Breaking Away.
Oh, great choice.
Number 7, Breaking Away. This is probably the movie that the casual sports fan would not have on their list. I'll be surprised if you have it on your list. It's an older movie. It's about cycling, but it's really about growing up. It's about class resentment, friendship, identity. 4 Indiana kids trying to figure out what happens after high school when the rest of the world appears to be moving on without them. And it's very raw. They have pimples. It's not a polished look at it's a real gritty look at high school kids. And the main character, Dave, is so obsessed with Italian cycling that he starts speaking with an Italian accent, listening to opera, and calling his father Papa. And this is in southern Indiana. And his father reacts how every Midwestern father would react if his son suddenly came downstairs pretending to be from Tuscany. All right, he's a little bit salty. As a sports movie, it builds toward the Little 500 cycling race.
Awesome.
And by the time the race begins, you are completely invested in this group of local kids called the Cutters, beating the spoiled college students who treat them like absolute shit. It's a gritty, funny movie, and the characters feel like people instead of inspirational speech delivery systems like a lot of sports movies. Loved it.
That was actually nominated for Best Movie of the Year that year.
Nice.
It was one of my final cuts again. Love Dennis Quaid in that. Daniel Stearns in that. It's a fantastic movie.
So now you're on your number 7.
Correct. And I have Moneyball, 2011 movie.
Not on my list.
And to me, what I loved about that is it showed how sabermetrics and analytics came into baseball and how important it was. Again, Jonah Hill, Brad Pitt, some of their best work, in my humble opinion. A story about the Oakland A's and Billy Beane and how they changed baseball with that kind of process. My favorite scene was when Billy Beane actually gets interviewed by John Henry at Fenway Park towards the end of the movie. And I loved it because it just shows you the difference of Fenway Park versus the Coliseum where the A's played, and like the amount of money and the professionalism versus what Billy Beane was coming to. He still didn't take the job for the Red Sox, but I just loved that sort of when they showed the delta between the two organizations. I love that scene.
I guess if analytics gives you a boner, it could be on your list. I mean, for me, I kind of like the action of sports a little more than people sitting around looking at spreadsheets. But no, it's a really good movie, and it was definitely on my list of movies I was considering. And I felt to myself, if I didn't know as much, I would definitely put this one on. I'm just kidding you, Ross. I respect your opinion. Number 6, my number 6, Slapshot.
Very, not a surprise.
All right. The greatest hockey comedy ever made. One of the greatest hockey movies ever made. Slapshot understands minor league hockey at its most desperate. Team is terrible. The town is collapsing. The franchise may fold. So player coach Reggie Dunlap, played by Paul Newman, realizes that the only way to sell tickets is to turn every game into a bench-clearing bar fight with referees. It's awesome. Enter the Hanson brothers. Three thick glass dorks with dopey accents who look like they get kicked off the chess club for headbutting the moderator. And Reggie refuses to play them at first because somehow even minor league hockey standards seem to be a little too high for these idiots. And then he finally lets them loose in what is one of the most legendary scenes in sports movie history. The Hansons hit the ice and immediately begin beating the shit out of their opponents like three professional wrestlers who were accidentally handed hockey sticks. Punches, body slams, the crowd losing their mind. No strategy, no forecheck, no defensive structure. Just three grown men with taped glasses committing organized violence. It's hysterical. And I mean, the movie itself is really, it's raw, it's hilarious, but it's surprisingly sad underneath it. These are guys who know that the game is leaving them behind and have no idea what they're supposed to do next, which to me hits home because that is exactly our mission statement for Ballers to Balding. Love it. Love Slapshot. Great movie.
Okay. That did not make my list. I think Slapshot, I recognize how popular that movie is. For me, very good movie. Doesn't make my list. Just a little too silly for me. A little too slapsticky for me.
Oh,
versus
slap
the others.
sticky.
Yeah. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's my own opinion.
It's of the time. All right.
You ready for my number 6?
Yep.
I bet you have it on yours. Field of Dreams.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Field of Dreams is my number 5.
Okay. Magical story about a guy who hears voices in his head, so he's a little bit psychotic. The thing I liked about, and then goes through his crops in Iowa and builds a baseball field in the middle of anything, was actually somewhat controversial because at that time in Iowa, there was a drought. And the movie company actually built this stadium and took down and did it over a crop, and that was very controversial at that time. But who cares if people can eat, as long as we have good cinema with Kevin Costner. Loved that they had names from real players: Mel Ott, Gil Hodges, Julius Joe Jackson. Love that part of it. And of course, the father-son story. I mean, come on. Just fantastic. At the end of that movie, and this is my favorite scene, is the end of that movie. You're trying to see, where's this movie going? Where's this movie going? What's it going to be? What's going to be the crescendo? And it's really about the main character, Kevin Costner's relationship with his dad, which had ended poorly, and they see each other. And the last thing he says, and this is giving me chills as I tell you right now, when Kevin Costner says to his dad, "Do you want to have a catch?" It's just a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I mean, that is my number 5.
Okay.
I mean, that's my next one. Number 5, Field of Dreams. It's the movie that tricked millions of men into thinking they were watching a baseball movie when they were actually processing unresolved issues with their dad. And also, it really captures kind of the mythology of baseball better than any other movie. You know, it's not just a game, it's a memory, it's a childhood, it's America. And it captures how sports is something that fathers and sons, it's a way that fathers and sons relate. I mean, how many people talk to their dad mostly about sports? You know, you're not talking about relationships. You're talking about money and sports. And it's something you share your entire life. And so that really hit. And the thing about the movie is that it shouldn't work. If you describe what it's about, it's a farmer who builds a baseball field for ghosts, kidnaps a reclusive author, and drives around the country following hallucinations. And then somehow it becomes very reasonable.
Totally.
And my moment at the end too, when the ghost who's a catcher takes off his mask and Costner realizes it's his dad as a ghost, as a young man who he never got closure with, and he says, "Do you want to play catch?" It's like,
yeah, awesome.
Amazing.
Awesome.
All right, so that is actually my number 5. So we're at number 5. So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Karate Kid. Again, don't like to overuse the word. I think iconic is overused, but an iconic 1980s movie.
Yeah.
About a kid who's being picked on. He doesn't have a dad, needs a father influence, and in comes Al from Happy Days.
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. Loved what you learn about karate. Just a fantastic scene, underdog story in the same ilk of another, I bet, story that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. I bet is on both of our lists. But the other thing, and my favorite part of that movie, my favorite scene, is not the end, actually. My favorite scene in that movie is when Mr. Miyagi shows Daniel how paint the fence and wax on, wax off, how that works for his defensive positions in karate. Loved it. Loved the movie.
I love the movie
That's my number
too.
5.
I love it. It's not on my list as a sports movie.
Ooh.
In my mind, I don't think of it as a sports movie. It is.
Okay.
I give you that, and it's a great movie. I think of it more of like a high school coming of age movie. And also just how Rudy got soured from you because you found out that he was
Loser.
a loser and a creep. I have a good friend who's has a black belt in karate and a black sash in kung fu, and just thinks the movie's karate is absolutely ridiculous. He's like, God, if he
I
ever
get that.
if he put his foot up like that and went like this, I would just walk right up and knock his throat out.
All right. Next.
What number are we at now? What number was that for you?
That's 5. 4.
So my number 4 is Bull Durham.
Not on my list.
Interesting. Bull Durham, to me, may be the most honest movie ever made about professional baseball. Not the glamorous part. The part where you ride a bus for 6 hours and sleep in a hotel next to an ice machine, go 0 for 4 and convince yourself that the problem with your hitting is the socks you're wearing. There's no World Series. There's no scoreboard exploding after a home run. This is minor league baseball. All right. And it's just, the bizarre superstitions, the empty seats, the shitty pay. Kevin Costner plays Crash Davis. He's awesome. A veteran catcher sent down to mentor Nuke LaLoosh, a young pitcher with $1 million arm and a 50-cent head. And the emotional maturity, basically, of a puppy who can throw a baseball through drywall. He's a total idiot, but totally talented. And what makes it a great sports movie is that it understands and it shows that most athletes, even ones that are professional athletes at some point, are not icons. They're employees trying to hang on for one more paycheck, one more season, one more scout who still might believe in them. It's kind of heart-wrenching. And it treats the game like a religion while admitting that the worshipers are deeply superstitious, flawed lunatics in funny pants. It's a great movie. It really says a lot about the game. I love the moments when Crash is at the plate and you can hear his inner thoughts. He's like, come on, meat.
Yeah.
Serve me me the heater.
It's great. It's a great movie.
All right.
It's just not on my, if I had a top 15, it'd be there, just not my top 10.
So what's your number 4?
My number 4, which I am so certain, given your love of hockey, is going to be on your list. I'm going to let you talk about it. And if it's not on your list, I'll just be surprised. Miracle. Miracle is my number 4.
That's my number 2.
Okay. So why don't you talk about it, since you love that movie a little bit more than I do.
Greatest true story sports movie ever made. Everybody knows what happens. U.S. beat the Soviet Union in 1980. It somehow still has tension and makes you nervous, which is incredibly impressive considering that the ending has been spoiled for 50 years. and what makes it work is, number one, Kurt Russell's incredible as Herb Brooks.
It's great.
I mean, he's incredible. And it feels real as a sports movie. The practices are brutal. The hockey actually looks real. The players actually resemble athletes, not actors who learned how to skate a week before the filming started. It shows you that the win was not magic. It was preparation, conditioning, sacrifice, strategy. And it has this incredibly iconic scene, which could have been, the game at the end. But that's not, because everyone's seen that. The iconic scene is after they lose an exhibition game and Brooks keeps them on the ice in the stadium to do sprints because he doesn't think they worked hard enough. Again, they skate, they're collapsing, they're puking. And he keeps asking them who they play for, and they keep answering with their colleges. BU, Minnesota, Bowling Green. And that's the problem. They're representing their college teams. And then finally, Michael Eruzione can barely stand. And Brooks says, who do you play for? And Eruzione says, the United States of America. And Brooks says, that's all, gentlemen. And that's the moment they become Team USA. It's like it's inspiring. Great movie.
Totally agree. I don't have anything to add. It's just a fantastic movie. That was my number 4. So number 3.
Wait, so what's my number 4? Bull Durham.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, number 3. Why don't you do your number 3?
So my number 3 is Hoosiers.
That's my number 3.
All right, we're on with each other.
Why don't you start?
All right, so I fucking love that movie. All right, I think the hoop scenes are pretty good. And you reminded me of that because I knew somebody who had tried out for that too, and you had to be a decent basketball player. It's not the same as Miracle, but I'm just saying they
But
know what they're
it's
doing.
also a period piece, and they actually played
Yeah.
basketball like that then.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it has great actors, great cast, Deborah Winger, Gene Hackman, Dennis Hopper. It really develops the character. The Dennis Hopper story is probably my favorite part of that movie. The guy who's an alcoholic who has no relationship and is an embarrassment to his son, and him really coming out and improving himself through this basketball team. And to me, what's epitomized in that is the best scene for me is the picket fence scene when Dennis Hopper has to coach the team because Gene Hackman purposely gets himself thrown out of the game so that Dennis Hopper has to step up. He does. I'm getting chills again. Fucking Hoosiers is awesome.
The movie, it basically wrote the operating system for every underdog film that followed. Small town, disgraced coach, undersized team, furious parents, hostile gym, and one superstar who barely speaks. And then you got Hopper, who's the alcoholic assistant coach, who looks like he spends half his life sleeping in a grain elevator. And it's great. Every little detail is there. Gene Hackman is awesome as the coach. And then you got Jimmy Chitwood, right? Standing there silently in the room, like the basketball version of Clint Eastwood, barely speaks. And he doesn't have to speak because he hits every shot.
Every
to me,
shot.
To me, the greatest moment is at the end when they're in the championship game and Coach Dale draws up a play for Jimmy as a decoy, and everyone just kind of looks at him like he just suggested communism, and he's like, "What?" And Jimmy's like, "I'll make it." And like that's his whole speech. No analytics, no whiteboard, no come on, coach, no discussion, just the player who's the best on the team politely telling the coach, I got this. And then of course he goes and hits the shot. And it reminds me of you playing when you would be in a huddle and you'd say, give me the ball, I'll make this. And then you'd go and miss and we'd be like, why the fuck did we give the ball to Russ? But it was similar. Great movie.
Great movie.
Great movie. So that's both our number threes. My number two, by the way, was Miracle, which we already covered, which is the second best.
And I got a number two that's different.
What?
Hoop Dreams. And we talked about.
I love Hoop Dreams. I never even thought of that
I'm
one.
cheating a little bit because it's a documentary.
Why? But it's a movie.
Documentary.
It's a good sports
1994.
movie.
Now I would say this movie is not only my number two sports movie, it's in my top 10 all-time movies.
I could see that.
It follows these two young African-American basketball players, William Gates and Arthur Agee, and it follows them from ninth grade going up. You see the recruiting process. You see other players who are famous, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, when they were young. But the thing I love about this movie, what makes it a great overall movie, is that it also shows the inner city plight of these two kids and their families. And it's an amazing movie.
Basketball, they need it. It means so much. And they're probably not good enough.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and the fact of the matter is, why I can show you why it's my favorite movie is my favorite scene is not a basketball scene, but it's when Arthur Agee's mother actually graduates from a nurse's academy, and she's had such a hard life, and she's so happy, and I'm sitting there crying. It's just a great movie.
Do you remember we went to a wedding years ago in Milwaukee? We were playing, and we had a pickup game going with all our friends at the gym, and one of those guys from Hoop Dreams was shooting hoops there.
William Gates was right. That was shooting.
I wonder what happened to those guys. That would have been a smart thing to do for this, but of course you didn't think of it. I want to know what happened to them, where they are now.
I did actually look at it, but let's move on because I don't want to go
too depressing.
Yeah.
It's not a happy ending. All right.
Number one.
And since neither one of us have mentioned it, so if this isn't on your list, then you lose all credibility. Should we say it together and see if it's the same one?
2, 3.
Rocky.
Woo!
Yeah, Rocky's my number one. Number one sports movie ever. I mean, gritty, raw. It somehow makes 1970s Philadelphia itself look like the entire city is fighting on 3 hours of sleep. Stallone is incredible. I mean, every other sports movie says the underdog is going to shock the world. Rocky says the underdog can absorb 15 rounds of traumatic dentistry, lose the fight, and still win because he proved he's not a bum. he proved he belongs. It is so powerful.
To me, the reason why it's a great sports movie, because I actually, even though they're so unrealistic, I love the fight scenes. I also love Apollo Creed. I think that character, which is obviously a takeoff on Muhammad Ali, is excellent.
Yeah.
I would also say that what makes it a great movie is it's a love story. It really is a love story.
Yes.
And that's what takes it from just a great sports movie into just a great movie. Won the Academy Award for that year for Best Film.
Yeah, you know what? It's true. Without Adrian, it's a great boxing movie. With Adrian, it's Rocky.
Right.
At the end.
Well put.
At the end, when when the arena is going insane and the judges are announcing Apollo's the winner and reporters are shoving microphones and Rocky's just screaming, Adrian! All he cares about is Adrian because she's the one who believed in him. And all that mattered to him was that he was still standing. Proved he wasn't a bum. It was such a powerful ending. And it was such a gritty, raw movie. If you watch it again, I mean, it's really incredible. Great movie. It actually stands the test of time.
Do you remember when you had already had an offer at Leo Burnett Advertising? Do you remember I got an offer after you? And I was sitting there with the letter in my hand screaming, Cappy!
Yeah,
Cappy!
It was amazing.
It was
and
awesome.
I was fighting through everyone who was around you cheering.
All right, there's our top
buddy.
10.
Those are our top 10. If you disagree with us, leave your comments. Tell us what you think are great sports movies that we may have overlooked. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you next week. Maybe we'll discuss things like the Red Sox.
All right.
Who are on a hot streak here.
All right, buddy.
Have
Love
a good
you.
week. Woo!